Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for spending your lunch with us, and thank you for your interest in the Research Administration and Compliance programs at the CUNY School of Professional Studies. I'm Jenna Copeland. I'm the Academic Program Director. Let's get this information session started. Today, I will tell you a little bit about CUNY SPS, then move on to discuss our program offerings, the curriculum, and then application requirements. Finally, I'll wrap up by answering some of your questions. Please use the QA area to post any questions that you'd like me to answer, reserving the chat for technical issues and hi and greetings. The City University of New York, which was founded in 1847, is comprised of 25 campuses spread across the 5 boroughs. SPS is a relatively new addition. We were founded in 2003. We are experts in online education, having developed the first fully online program for CUNY. Now we have more than 13 master's programs, as well as 12 advanced certificates and 18 undergraduate programs. Our expertise lies not just in technology, but online pedagogy, how we effectively engage our students as whole individuals. It's also important to note, that CUNY SPS is accredited by Middle States. The Research Administration and Compliance Program, we call it RAC for short, is comprised of 3 offerings: the Master's in Research Administration and Compliance and 2 advanced certificate programs. One that focuses on research administration, and the other one focuses on research compliance. And we'll see the differences between these 3 offerings, as well as the requirements of them in just a little bit. First, let's talk about why a program like ours is even necessary. As many of you know, there's a growing need for expertise in this field, and a growing need for research enterprise leaders who can really make decisions based on an understanding of the entire breadth of research administration and compliance considerations. The last decade or so, we've witnessed a trend towards professionalizing these roles. It's an increasingly complex field with more functions and more regulations. Experienced individuals are in demand. Up until programs like ours came into existence, this experience and expertise was gained through on-the-job training. It takes between 5 and 10 years, and a number of those folks who were really in these original roles are reaching retirement. So there is a gap. So how does our program differ from other programs? Most other programs, non-CUNY programs, focus on financial research administration or clinical research administration. Their goal is really to create administrators. Our program covers the breadth of both financial and clinical research administration, as well as research compliance. And our focus is on creating future leaders. I think this will be really evident when we look at the curriculum. This expertise that we're talking about is required across academic institutions, research centers, hospitals, clinics, government agencies, the pharmaceutical industry, applied science industries, anybody who does research, basic or applied. So depending on how much experience you came into the program with, several opportunities exist for our graduates. If you're making a transition or you're new to the field, you would more likely be looking at entry to mid-level positions, coordinators, administrators, managers, associate directors. Those who come into the program with more extensive experience, and we do have a lot of students who are in the program who are currently working in the RAC field in various areas. So those folks would be looking at associate vice provosts, VPs, AVPs, depending on whether you're in an academics or a private setting. Government positions really vary by agency. There can be a wide variety of different titles, but funding entities or any entity that that participates in regulatory oversight, those would be the places that you would be looking for work. Folks who come to the program with experience may also find consultancy an option for them. So there's a lot of different areas. There are a lot of different kinds of positions for different levels. This is the curriculum for the master's. The master's program is 30 credits total. So that's 10 classes, 7 are required, and then you have 3 electives. We'll look at some of the elective selections in just a minute. But you can clearly see from the required courses that the program is designed to expand and refine your knowledge of the RAC field, as well as support the skills needed in leadership roles. So here are, these are the bulk of our electives that are currently available. Students can use the electives to tailor the degree to your specific interest. Now, the advanced certificates, there are no electives. The certificate programs are designed to be completed within 2 semesters, although you can take longer. All of our programs are flexible in that regard. We'll speak more about that in just a minute. But if you start in an advanced certificate program and you decide that you'd like to switch to the master's, that is possible. You can apply, and your courses taken in the certificate will count towards the master's, because you're not in different sections from the master's students. You're in the same classes with the master's students. I'd like to talk just a little bit about the feel of the program. This is not a program where you're going to be assigned weekly readings and go away. You will be collaborating with your classmates, often working in groups. The program is really designed to be interactive. You'll also have obviously interactions and extended access to your faculty. So that's kind of the basis of the community of RAC at SPS. We do use Blackboard as a learning platform. I know here it says a maximum of 20 students, but most semesters that is the reality is it's closer to 15 or even fewer students in the class. We like to keep them small to encourage interaction. Students can attend part-time or full-time. Full-time at the graduate level is 3 courses, but since most of our students are working adults, almost all of our students attend part-time. And you can take 1 class 1 semester if your work has gone over the deep end, and the next semester, if things return to to status quo, then you can take more classes. It's no, you're not committed as long as you progress. The program is flexible. One of the fantastic things about CUNY, and one of the things that's at the core of CUNY and therefore CUNY SPS, is access to quality education. And in this case, that means all of our students pay in-state graduate tuition, no matter where you log in from. So if you move for a job in the middle of the semester, your tuition rate is not going to change. And if you're joining us from California now, you'll pay the same rate as someone in the New York area. The semesters are 15 weeks long. You are not required to take classes in the summer, but there are summer classes available. Those are 7 weeks, so they don't ruin your whole summer. But we do have many students who keep summers to themselves. What are we looking for in your application? This is a master's program, so we need you to have a bachelor's degree from a fully accredited institution. We will also need the transcripts from that degree. It's not uncommon for people to attend a number of schools during their life, even post-bac, or if we do have students that have masters in other fields. We're going to need the transcripts from all of the institutions that you've attended. So please keep that in mind. Also, just a practical note, keep in mind that we are still working, for the most part, remotely. So any materials for your application that you can send electronically, you really should choose to do that. It will help things, it'll help your application come together quicker. We require a minimum GPA of 3.0. We ask for your resume. We also want 2 letters of recommendation. And please think about who you select for these letters. You may have a colleague you've worked with for 20 years who has an excellent title. We would really prefer someone who's been a supervisory role to you over that. And if you have any questions about whether someone's a good choice or not, you can always reach out to me. A personal statement. Your personal statement should accomplish a number of things. It should make clear that you understand what the program's about. It should indicate where you see yourself in the program, how you intend to use the program. Obviously, we don't, this isn't a commitment, but help us understand why you're looking at the program. And you should also use the personal statement to fill in any gaps, anything that we can't learn from the other materials that are attached. That should be a part of your personal statement. We may also ask for an interview with the admissions committee. So the deadline for spring 2022 is November 4th. This is the priority deadline. If you're able to get your application materials in by then, the application fee is actually waived and we will make a decision sooner. Obviously, if you submit your your application and it's complete, we'll review it sooner. The regular deadline, however, if you just November 4th isn't possible, it's around the corner. I can't believe it. December 9th, we'll be accepting applications for the program and the certs through December 9th. So I see we have a couple of questions. So someone has asked, can you get access to other CUNY campuses? For example, I can get access to Baruch and Hunter if I want to be on campus to study. Our library is actually Baruch's library, so you do have access to Baruch's library as a student. And I don't know the current status of the Graduate Center's library, their requirements as far as COVID goes and access, but we typically have access to that as a study space. I don't believe that we can check out materials from the Graduate Center library. But you can from the Baruch, you can from the Newman Library at Baruch, and you can also use their study spaces. So if transcripts from all schools attended are already housed at SPS for an undergraduate degree, do we still need to request transcripts from all the schools again? Tim, that depends on how long ago it was. Sometimes SPS will just transfer the transcripts, and occasionally they will request new ones. So, you know, if you drop me an email, and I'll definitely share my email address before the end of this. If you drop me an email, I can look into your particular case. For the certificate programs, do I need to already have experience in the field in order to apply? No, you don't actually. It does help to have experience, at least in an allied field. But we do have, I'd say probably 30% of our students across all the programs are making career transitions because there's work in research administration, their jobs. So, and a certificate, if you're not sure if this is going to be something for you, a certificate is kind of a lower risk way to try, because it's only 4 courses. Leniency in what? I'm unsure what the question is. So if okay. Hello, would you say the advanced certificate is helpful for gaining more knowledge for the CRA exam? Our curriculum's not tied to the CRA exam. It's certainly, you know, it's certainly a deeper dive into the field of research administration, but the CRA exam has a very clear, specific, you know, the organization produces a very clear, specific, almost like a study guide. Here's what we want for the exam. So it's not like a prep course for it. How about that? Do you have any leniency on the GPA requirement? We definitely look at our students as whole people. You know, sometimes students, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of an example. Say as an undergraduate, maybe college was not necessarily your thing. You've gone to work now for you know, a number of years and found your direction, and your other component, the other components to your application demonstrate that. You know, most certainly we look at you as a whole person. If you're a little off the mark, you know, that's one thing. If you're, you know, if there's a bigger gap, you may want to address that in your personal statement in some way. Don't write your whole personal statement about your GPA, but you may want to offer up some explanation as to why it happened. Is there a maximum timeline that you need to complete the master's program? Absolutely not. As long as you continue to progress. I have a nurse in the program who she's a senior level nurse. She is only able to take one class a semester. That's it. And she guards her summers with all of her might. And this fall, she is going to graduate. So it's really up to you. Like I said, as long as you continue to progress, you keep in contact with the program, and let them know what your intent is, then that's one of the benefits of the program. It's flexible. I'm in the legal space and interested in the research sector. Is this program geared towards more towards the health care field, or can I focus on legal? Well, Tim, again, you're turning into a special case. We have a couple of lawyers who teach in the program who specialize in RAC-related law and legal issues and compliance. What I would suggest is letting me put you in contact with one of those faculty members to have a conversation. So I think that would be a really the best idea. I went to CUNY for undergraduate and for my master's. Will all those transfers as well? If you're talking about transcripts, admissions, what they say is they will try to pull your transcripts of CUNY grads as a courtesy. They cannot always do it. It depends on how long you've been out of school. Sometimes it depends on what's going on the campus. But if we can pull those transcripts, we will do that as a courtesy to CUNY folks. But the admissions people do recommend that you still request the transcripts, just in case. Is this program good for regulatory affairs professionals in the medical device industry, or is this more geared toward research rather than compliance with regulations in general? Rachel, I would say that you sound like an ideal candidate for the program. Yes, but again, since your circumstances so specific, I'd be more than happy to connect you with a faculty person so you can discuss whether or not the outcome for you specifically is going to be what you're looking for. But I think that we have a ton of folks in medical fields and doing RAC in hospitals, and we have a growing number of private sector students coming our way. So I'd say yes, but again, I'm happy to connect you with the faculty person so you can discuss the details. Can a project management course I took at SPS as an undergraduate be applied to the master's program? No, because it's an undergraduate course. I'm sorry, Tim. You almost had it there. We do have project management as one of our electives, and a lot of students really love that course. It's got a lot of benefits to it, but it is a graduate level project management class, unless you took Prom 600. If you took Prom 600, then that class, after your first semester, we could discuss having it evaluated for transfer. How strict is, I love this question. How strict is the GPA requirement? I've been out of college for over 20 years. Would a GPA of below 3 mean that my application is automatically rejected? Definitely not. That is not the case, particularly in a circumstance like yours. Like the example I used earlier, where we do have a fair number of students who have been out of undergraduate for quite some time and have found themselves in RAC positions or allied fields and see the opportunities within RAC. So we definitely would look at your overall package, especially since it's been that long. Are you able to attend class at any time, or is there a certain time for each class each week? I'm very glad you asked this question. The program is asynchronous, but we like to refer to it as asynchronous with a stop, which means that you'll have deadlines across a week, and that will move the class forward together. But within that week, you can work whenever you want to, whenever you have time to. When I first went back to teaching, I would try to get up early and go over my lectures and get anything together I needed for that day. And the second I woke up, my daughter was very young. The second I woke up, she was up. So I learned very quickly that my time was at night, that was when I had to work, get my work done, was after she went to sleep. So SPS in general and RAC specifically recognizes that a lot of our students, most of our students are working adults. So, you work when you have the time to, and so in that regard, it's asynchronous. You don't have to be anywhere at a specific time, but you will have deadlines for assignments and like. Does the advanced certificate program cost the same per credit as the master's? Yes, it's you'll be in the same classes. It's the same per credit cost. If I go on to do a PhD in sociology at the Graduate Center, I was at the Graduate Center for a while. Can any of the credits from this program be applied to the PhD requirements? That I can't answer that question. Tim, you would have to ask the sociology department at CUNY at the Graduate Center. Although I will say Kristen Summers, who teaches one of our courses, is in that department. Her home department is Baruch, but she also teaches at the Graduate Center. So ask her. Or ask the Graduate Center. Tim is apologizing for so many questions. No apologies. It's much better to have too many questions than crickets chirping. Is there a non-degree option or auditing? No, there isn't. I am sorry. We don't have those particular options. And it sounds like from the rest of your question that your situation may be a little more complicated. So like I said, I'm going to pop my email address in the chat right now before I forget. And I encourage you to reach out to me, and I will talk to you about your specific circumstance so we can get you a more. Oops, sorry, it's a little O. I'll do it again. Trying to do too many things at once. There we go. Okay, so any of you can feel free to email me directly. I'm in grants and development, corporate and foundation relations. Have you had students with similar backgrounds? If so, have they found the degree helpful in their career trajectory? Well, I can't speak for the alum, but I can say that we do have a number of students that have come through the program in your field. And one of the summer classes that we do offer is a pre-award class. And actually, I'm really hoping to put a harder finance surrounding grants, grant management into place. So I hope that answered your question, Elizabeth. is this program good for someone who currently works at RF CUNY? Yes, actually, we've had a couple of students from who have come from Central. So I can put you in touch maybe with someone so you can talk, CUNY specifics. Are there lectures that you need to attend? No, like I said, it's asynchronous. So there are a lot of faculty record short lectures plus readings, and then you have interactions in the discussion board, and faculty have office hours where students gather. So but that's as close to needing to be in a specific time at a specific and in a specific place. Let me see if I just popped the link to tuition. Someone asked about the cost per credit and fees. There's a link in the chat for you. I love CUNY SPS, so thanks so much for your answers. This has been a useful session. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. I love SPS too. It's really a great place, and it can really afford students the opportunity to further their careers when they wouldn't otherwise be able to undertake such a thing. So I'm with you in your love for CUNY SPS. Is the advanced cert program graded on the same scale? Yep, it's not pass fail. It's the courses you're graded exactly like any other. Yeah, Jamie, I'm happy to make that connection, but you're going to have to email me. Otherwise, I won't remember. I thought I saw someone with their hand raised, but I don't know how to deal with that here. Okay. So do you have any book exchange programs to help us keep the cost of books down? We don't do that in-house, but we do work with faculty to keep the cost of books as low as possible in in a given class. We systematically review the required texts for courses, and work with faculty to see if there are replacement texts that are less expensive that might serve in the same capacity, if students can use older editions and therefore used copies, and the like. And there are a few classes. I think there were one or two classes this semester that had zero textbook costs, which meant that all of your reading materials were on the internet or available through the library. Okay. Can you start the program in summer? No, you can't start. We have fall and spring admissions cycles. So, our offerings in the summer, we have a few courses in the summer, but it's really not a part of, like I said, the admission cycle. So fall or spring, the deadlines for spring, you have plenty of time for spring, but if the timing is related to something else in your life, then it would have to be fall. And I would assume that admission cycle would start somewhere around April. I would keep an eye on the program page. We'll post deadlines there as soon as they become available. Can we access to the CUNY? Do we have access to the CUNY gym? I don't know. That's an excellent question. There are facilities on some of the campuses but I have no idea. I'm sorry. That's a first. It's a good question though. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to ask. I'll look into it if I can find an answer to that question. I think do we still have, oh, we still have more questions. Diana has answered, yes, I am pretty sure you can access the gym. She used to be a student rep. Diana, thank you. I know you can get discounts to and free admissions to with your ID to things like museums and cultural institutions, but I don't know about the gym. Thanks, Diana. We still have time if folks have any other questions. If not, I'll hi, Maria, can you pop your question in the Q&A section? Could you speak a little bit more about the difference in the certificates? The certificates both have overlapping core courses, and they're each 4 classes. So they share 2 courses, and then there's one that focuses on administration with RAC 600. And there is the second that focuses on compliance. So, they have the 2 core courses, the one course that's geared specifically towards the topic of the certificate, and then they have unique capstones. So that's really, the capstone is really where you pull all of that together and you work one-on-one with your faculty advisor to really pull together everything that you gathered out of the program. Did that answer your both of your questions? We can go back and take a quick look at the certificate. I'll pop these up here for a minute just to. So if we have a few more minutes, if folks have additional questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, can we look back at the core requirements for the program as well? Of course. So Business 600, organizational behavior and leadership. This is obviously one of the courses that goes to support the leadership component of the master's. Introduction to Research Administration. This is one of the classes that students typically take towards the beginning of the program. It's also that administration focused course for the certificate in research administration. Introduction to Research Compliance, Ethics, and Integrity. This is the course that is specific to the compliance certificate. And it's also a class that students tend to take early on. Introduction to clinical research, administration, and compliance. Policy development, analysis, and implementation. Again, this is another course that goes to supporting the leadership component of the program. Intellectual property, technology transfer, and commercialization. And then the capstone course. This RAC 699 should be your final class. And like the capstone courses with the individual certificates, this is a course where you develop an independent project and you work on it one-on-one with your faculty advisor. You also have feedback. You also get feedback from others that are in the capstone that particular semester, but you do get a lot of one-on-one time with the faculty person to develop and accomplish your capstone. And while we're here, we'll pop back to the electives for, okay, Elizabeth, since I mentioned I'm in grants, which certificate would be more helpful with reporting, overseeing, and outcomes? I would probably say that the compliance certificate would be more helpful, Elizabeth, but I would like to, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more in depth about what your interests are before I, sign my name and dot, you know. Are you allowed to just take any courses you may find helpful for your work without aiming to do? No, you have to be a part of the program in some official capacity. So you either have to be a master's student or pursuing one of the certificates. But we do have flexibility with the certificate students if they change their, if they want to change their role. So this is really helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. It's nice to meet all of you. If you complete the practicum for the certificate, does that cover the RAC 99 practicum for the master's? I am very glad you asked that question. No, it does not. They are completely different. That's why they're different course numbers. They are completely different courses. So if you are starting out in a certificate and somewhere in the back of your mind, you are thinking that you may want to, make that transition to the master's, you are going to want to have that conversation with me before you register for the certificate practicum, because that's the only class that won't count. And I truly dislike people wasting time or money. So especially when it's avoidable. So they are very different endeavors. And Maria has asked about details of the practicum. The practicum, as I said, it really gathers up all of your experience in the program. So, and it's meant to be beneficial for you. So if you're looking to change your role to a, to a slightly different direction within RAC, you can use the practicum to create a final project that would demonstrate some expertise and experience in that area. If you are looking to make yourself more robust in your current field, you can focus on a project that would that would address the topics of interest to you. So Yeah, so it really is an individual project that you work out with your with the capstone faculty person. If you get into the master's program but want to change to the certificate program, is that allowed? Yes, we actually have had a one student do this. Their role at work changed significantly. They were accepted to the program, and in that very semester, their situation at work changed. What I would say is, if this is in the back of your mind, I would be very, very careful selecting your courses that first semester, so you don't so you don't take a course that won't count if you do have decide to make that change. And I will help you do that if you apply and are accepted to the program. Thank you so much. Super helpful. Well, thank you, Diana. It's nice to meet all of you. Excellent. Please do email me if you have questions that are very specific, or if you need additional information. I am happy to talk to you. So, all right. I think we're going to call this quits. I thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing your applications.